Sometimes life lets you down and you feel that you are done. You just want a morning run because the fun is all gone. Sometimes life makes you proud when you look far and wide, when you leave the pain behind and see the brighter side. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new you. Sometimes life makes you blind and you choose something bad. You just wanna cry and hide and save your face from the crowd. But sometimes life makes you see the beauty in you and me. When you look up above, there is God and there is love. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new. We're here to help you see the newness of life. We're here to help you feel your hope is so real. You got the power to see. We'll help you see the new you. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new you.
The New Channel. The New Channel. The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the New Channel. We're here to help you see the new you. My name is Michelle Mras, and welcome to Mental Shift. Well, hello there. Good evening to the United States and to the Philippines. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 26 of Mental Shift. My guest tonight is a nomadic writer, born and raised in Frankfort, Kentucky, not Germany, Kentucky. He is the author of 6 books, including a novel, a book on self-development, a business management book, as well as a book of poetry and prose that was released in 2020. I'm holding it. His most recent book is called Nowhere Near the Middle, The Life Story of Valerie Doscher, which was released in February of this year. Yep, that's the that's the poetry and prose book. And then the Nowhere Near the Middle, the life story of Valerie, that was released just in February, and it's he's a ghostwriter. So he has also been a ghostwriter for nearly 6 years, and he blogs on his website, straightupliving.com. I really wanted Keith to come on the show because I've never met another man like him. And his words are just simply beautiful. The way he sees things, the way he can express his emotions is unlike many people. He's very unique. So please welcome my guest tonight, Keith Smith. Well, hi there.
Hi, it's an honor to be here.
I'm so glad you joined me because, Keith, I told you when I first met you, your words are simple art. They're beautiful. And there's not a lot of people like you. And when he says he's nomadic, now for those of you who have never heard that, he literally purged and he is on the road. He meets people, he writes, he takes pictures. I mean, to live that free of material things is just, I love it. I'm sitting here with my little necklace and my stuff, but that's what I would love to do. I want to do that so bad. So I want to talk about the mental shift you had, because to do what you did, you purged, released, hit the road and left.
Yeah.
What mental shift occurred in your world? What were you doing? And what mental shift happened to have you set out on this quest? You're basically on like an odyssey of life.
That's pretty much what it feels like, Michelle. I guess the mental shift that occurred with me, I guess I've had several throughout my life, but the one that set me on my current path, I guess, happened in January of 2018. And 2018, January, was when I had the end of a 12-year relationship end. Now, it was the second long-term relationship I had been in. I had been married years before for 14 years and had three children, three daughters, and then a series of relationships after that. And then I settled into another long-term relationship. And while it had its ups and downs, it was actually a really good relationship. And I really wasn't expecting it to end when it did. But when it did, it happened at the same time I had just started a new consulting business with a friend and partner and coworker of mine, management consulting. And we had just got our first gig out of state and was about to fly to Las Vegas, Nevada in 2 weeks when the news was delivered to me that our relationship was ending. So that kind of was a spiral, a catalyst, I guess you might say, that sent me on a downward spiral that just really took me to rock bottom. And you probably have heard the saying before, rock bottom is a good place to be because you at least know you can push yourself off and go back up because there's nowhere else to go. So there I was in my early 50s, an emotional wreck, a financial wreck. The business that I had just started just went down the tubes, and I was at ground zero, or worse than ground zero. I tell people that, I didn't just hit the ground. I went through the ground and all the way to the basement. And I was just in a really dark place. And when you're in that dark place, you have, I guess, two options. You can give up and just call it quits, take yourself out, or whatever the case may be. But giving up just does not come easy for me. It's kind of born and bred into me to be too stubborn. I used to tell people I'm either too stubborn or too stupid to quit. So the other option is to just really go inward and examine yourself, because all these things didn't happen to me, or that end of that relationship, or even the end of my marriage some years before, didn't just happen to me externally. I played a role in each and every one of those situations. Yeah. So January 2018 was when the mental shift that I really needed, though I didn't know that I needed it, came to me. Since I didn't go to it, it came to me. And so I moved back. I was living in a different city than my hometown at that time. And so I had to move back to my hometown, got an apartment with the last money that I had. So I had an apartment, no furniture, no money, no job, nowhere to go. So that was again, the catalyst that set me on this path. And here's how. I had been already written. I'd already written 4 books by that time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not highly well known. I have a small following, but I'm not highly well known. But when I hit rock bottom, writing was all that I had left. I didn't really feel like I even had an identity anymore. I didn't have a relationship. I didn't really know who I was anymore, and all I had left was writing. So I had done some work in the past for a book writing company based in Texas, ghostwriting. So I contacted them and started spending about 10 hours a day ghostwriting, just trying to make some money. And that was good for me in many ways, other than just making a little bit of money. It really helped hone my writing. But while that was going on, I took an inward journey like I had never done before. I was determined to end the lifelong cycle of crash and burn that I had kept repeating. I began to recognize it as a pattern. So I knew I had to make a change. Well, ghostwriting wasn't enough money for me to survive. So I fell back on an old skill that I have, and that was automotive repair. I had been an auto mechanic for nearly 20 years prior to. So I went back into that. But in June of 2019, but I told myself, in June of 2018, I went back into automotive repair. But I told myself 1 year from today, I am going to do something radically different with my life. I spent the next year, I never furnished that apartment. I had 1 chair, 1 desk, an air mattress that I blew up to sleep on. I had an antique chest of drawers that got passed down through the family. And that was it. I had no other furniture in the apartment. So I spent the next 12 months, 18 months actually total, of going deep into myself. I didn't date. I didn't go to the movies. I didn't eat out. I didn't. Now this, it sounds miserable, but I was on a mission.
No, you were on an inner journey.
Yeah, exactly. I knew I had to get to the bottom of my soul and scrape the bottom and find out what was left of me from all those years before that I had buried through years. And really, I was hiding myself in those relationships rather than facing what I really wanted. So I worked on cars again, and I kept ghostwriting on the side. And I began to write these little notes to myself. In fact, I started posting all these notes online. I was going to turn them into a book. I still haven't. I actually did give away.
That's not these?
No, that came later actually. But the notes to self led to that.
Okay.
Because that was really me. See, I tell people all the time, my writing and the book you hold in your hand all came the hard way for me because I didn't go to college. I have no formal training in writing. Even when I was in high school, one of the subjects that I hated the most was English, ironically enough. I didn't like studying, grammar. I just did not like any of that stuff. But I have all this inside, and I wanted to write. So my writing has come through the fire. My earliest writings, I look back and I cringe, but all the writing that I've done has helped hone what you hold there in your hands now. And those little notes to self that I started writing were just literally notes to myself that I was writing down to help encourage me to keep me going. And after I had gathered 100 or so of those, I thought, I can't be the only human that feels this way. And I've always loved to encourage and help other people ignite their dreams. So maybe this will help others. So I began posting those notes on social media, and people began to just blow it up with comments. It was just, I could tell I had struck a nerve.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
And
I mean, honestly, I'm going to interject here. For those of you who are listening, you want to follow Keith. Follow him. He's called Keith Smith Writer on social media. When he posts things, it's almost like he's ripping through your heart and reading what's written in your heart. I mean, it's that raw, that beautiful, that deep. Yes. Oh, we can flip back. We don't need to make me big because I'm actually still talking to Keith is really the main talker still. But I wanted to share the back of his book. Okay, then I'm going to do this. Back of his book. A collection of poetry and prose that pulls back the veil to reveal the deep and raw feelings that accompany our experiences in life and love. Night Words takes you on an inner journey of the soul and helps you connect with your deepest truths. Find it on Amazon. I read it and just cried. And then I wrote him and said, I'm reading your book and I'm crying, but they're good tears. They're good tears. So, Keith, I want to make sure you know this. I tell people all the time, the thing you did worse at in school is probably where you're supposed to go.
I can't argue with that logic because it must be true.
Yeah, because we don't like people telling us how to do things. We'd rather do it our way. Our soul has its own expression of it. And when someone's telling you how to do it, what to do, and how many words in a sentence, all that, it's like, no, I don't want this. Forget it. I hate this. It's because you have your own way. The way you write is unlike how you're taught, which is why it's so beautiful. It is written as you would speak it, as you would take your breath in it. It's beautiful. I love it. I can't wait for more from you and for more people to follow you and learn who you are, because that's the other thing that you said is, I didn't have any formal training. When you walk into who you truly are, when you're in your gift, no one can teach it to you.
That's right.
And so aren't you really glad that you hit rock bottom, because you were able to swim back to you, not to what you thought you were supposed to be, not what you were expected to be, but you. And that's why I find you so fascinating, because you're raw, you're real. And the way you see the world, and you just take pictures of things, and the angles are crooked and they're off, and they're so beautiful. Yeah, that's why I want to share you with the world.
Well, thank you so much. I don't know what to say to that.
I know. I like to do that because you're so humble. And that's the other thing is, you're real, and there's not a lot of real people out there. And that you are in a car with your belongings of whatever you could fit. Very simple. When people, what is that? I said it in the description, but you live a very simple life. You have shed all of the crap that we carry around with us, and you strip it down to the bare minimum. You go from state to state, city to city. And I want you to explain that to people, because we are speaking internationally. Okay. So I don't think when you say nomad, they're thinking you've got a backpack and a donkey, but you're not doing that. But the part of your journey, you meet people and you share their stories or pull their stories out of them. Share a little bit more about that. What is your nomadic life, and how do you do that?
Okay. In June of 2019, June 1st, 2019, I just had my 2-year anniversary. I literally hit the road. I had already closed out my apartment, and I only knew I was going to go towards Texas, and I was going to continue working with a book writing company. I'm not associated with them now. And all they do is ghostwriting, but I worked with them for probably 5 or 6 years at least. And so I knew I wanted to live on the road, but quite honestly, I had never done it. I've read books about it. I had romanticized about it. I was following multiple people on YouTube who were doing it, but I didn't know what that was going to look like for me. So I literally just winged it. June 1st, 2019, my youngest daughter was moving from the same hometown to Knoxville, Tennessee to go to school to become an esthetician. I helped her move down there June 1st. I slept, and I'm sorry, before I went to bed that night, I realized I don't know where I'm going tomorrow. So I guess I better find some place to go. So I had a tent and a sleeping bag. So I found a campground deep in the backwoods of Tennessee called Chickasaw State Park. And I got a campsite. And that was the first place I went. And so I've literally been making this up as I'm going along. That's the point I'm making. And I camped out there and made my way through Arkansas, Oklahoma, and everything was new and amazing to me. It was like I was living a dream. It's like it wasn't even real. I'm going through Oklahoma and I've got music playing. You ever drive down the interstate and you have music playing and you feel like you're in a movie? Well, that's what I felt like. Only I was in my own movie, and I mean, I didn't know what to make of it, and it was scary, but in a terrifyingly beautiful way because it was uncertainty, the very thing that we run from so much of our lives. I dove into intentionally, not having any idea what I was going to do. So, what does nomad life look for me? It's not a donkey, but it is a 2013 Ford Fusion that's paid off, and I've got a few things stuck in there, not much. I have a guitar, a couple of Native American flutes, a sleeping bag, and a tent, and I just travel. I have a daughter who lives in Texas, so I spend some time visiting them. I got to see granddaughters whom I probably would have hardly ever seen. They now know who I am, and they know me. I know them. And from there, I go, and I meet people along the way in coffee shops. You mentioned earlier about being raw and real, and that hit me deep because that's really the place from which I live. It did me a big favor not learning all those rules because I don't know what the rules are. So if I'm breaking them, I don't care because I don't even know. And that goes with my writing. I mean, I try to write well. I try to use editors when I can afford to pay for one. But otherwise, I just have ripped off that facade of who I was and all that raw internal workings of me. I just live it out in front of the world now. And I try to write from that place. I try to take pictures from that face.
There's no try. You're not trying. You are.
Well, that strikes a nerve with people. I think, it didn't come easy, but I feel like this is that wild part of all of us from which we yearn to live, but we bury it under, responsibilities or any number of things, because to live from that place is to live very raw, and you really have to embrace uncertainty. It's always there. We try to pretend like it's not, but you really have to, once you embrace that and you realize that, no matter how well I plan, I still don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, none of us do. None of us do. And so I want to read one of your prose or poems out of Night Words, and then we're going to go to our first commercial, and then we'll be right back and we'll talk a little bit more. So let me read this because it hit me kind of hard. I feel, and with such intensity, that I can find no outlet within a quiet lived life. I must chance. I must dare. I must hurl myself towards the unknowns of this existence and lose myself in the indescribable joy of being alive. Keith Smith. I read that and just cried like a baby. It was like a big old chord. But I love this book, Keith. And when we come back after this first break, I'd like to go into your ghostwriting and the book that you just wrote, okay? And that's out and about, and tell that story a little bit. So we're going to commercial. We'll be right back with Keith Smith. Please stand by. Hello, you are watching Mental Shift, and my name is Michelle Mras. Tonight, my guest is Keith Smith. He is a poet. He is a poet, and he's a ghostwriter. But stay tuned. Go to some commercials here, and when we come back, you'll meet Keith again. So, the following list of TNC live streams are in Philippine time. We invite you to watch all of these live or replays such as U-Turn, TNC The Talk, Awesome Day, The Home Buyer, The Puppet Stories Mondays at 5:30 p.m., The Big Picture Mondays to Fridays at 7:15 p.m., The Millennial Voice Mondays at 8:30 p.m., Foreign Affairs Tuesdays at 10:30 a.m., HR Hotline Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at noon, Moving On Business, Well Home Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m., Money and More Tuesdays, 8:30 Philippines, 5:30 a.m. USA, and Cybernext. Check out our page on Facebook or YouTube by searching hashtag TNC Now. Enjoy these inspiring shows because we made them for you. And welcome back. Welcome back. And I wanted to say hello to everyone who's watching us live. Please share this live stream right now because people want to meet Keith. They really want to see this and meet this wonderful, quiet-spoken man with just amazing thoughts, and that his ability to capture emotions the way he does is a gift so unique in this world that I love sharing his work. And before we bring him on, I'm going to embarrass him and say one more thing. But, oh, yes, Helene. Thank you so much for watching. No, I do not have my purple pen. I have my purple pen. I don't have my purple bus. And, okay. You ready? I have to read from the book. There comes a time when the skin of an old life no longer fits, and you must move unapologetically into alignment with everything that infuses your life with renewed joy and wonder for just being alive. Sometimes the old skin doesn't fit. It's all about the mental shifts and being unapologetically you. So please welcome this amazing man, this wonderful poet, this nomad, Keith. Keith, where are you? There you are. Yes, you're welcome. And I would like to go into the book that you ghost wrote because her life is very, I relate to her. And when I read about you first, I heard about the book first, that book first. And then after I was following you, that's when I realized you're a poet. So kind of like, oh, how exciting. Oh, wait, even more exciting. So please tell me, how did you get involved with ghostwriting this particular book? And then how do people find both your book of poetry or any of your business books for that matter, and then this book that you just wrote? And can we put the image of the book up here on the side real quick so he can talk about it? Thank you. No, not that one, the other one. Yeah, nowhere near the middle. But so while they're looking for that, explain, how did you get into that? And how do you ghostwrite? I mean, did you follow her around? Did you read her notes? I mean, how did you do this? Because I thought you got to know her personally.
Well, this is actually quite an incredible story because prior to writing this book, I had never written a book like this before. Now, I had been doing ghostwriting for 6+ years, but ghostwriting in the literal sense, in that the company I was working for, we would write books for NFL players, professional ball players, NBA, CEOs of major corporations. But with ghostwriting, I tell people oftentimes, you don't get any credit, you just get paid. Meaning you get hired to write the book, but their name, their face is on the cover. That's just how ghostwriting works. But all that experience did come in handy later. And by that I mean this: how I came to write Valerie's book, quite honestly, is this. I don't know how to describe it other than a spiritual experience for me, and I mean that quite literally. I found out about Valerie because I had spent 2 months in the late summer of 2019 in the Colorado mountains, in the Rocky Mountains, in the San Juan mountain range, in a cabin with some other writers writing. When we left Colorado. We were headed back to the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas. We happened to travel through, on our return trip, the panhandle of Texas. Now, the panhandle of Texas is dotted with a bunch of little small towns. It's pretty much all agricultural, very rural. It's the high plains. It's very high elevation, semi-arid region, just flat. And the largest city in that area is the one I'm sitting in now, which is Amarillo. We happened to be traveling late, so we booked an Airbnb in a small town in the Panhandle called Vega. Not Vegas, like Las Vegas, but Vega. And none of us had ever heard of it before. In fact, we thought maybe the young man who had booked the Airbnb had probably sent us, we didn't know where he was sending us to, some backwoods place. We were like, okay, we'll just take your word for it. Well, it turned out we got there really late, but it was a beautiful Airbnb. And we found out we were actually on Route 66. We didn't even know that. So the next morning, we got up and was going to do a little bit of exploring before we went our separate ways. I was going to travel on further to West Texas, and they were going on to Dallas-Fort Worth. While I was exploring the small town, I happened to notice a beautiful mural painted on the side of a building, and it caught my eye. So I crossed the street and come to find out it was a museum, out of which the curator, one of the curators, Karen Kahn, came out and introduced herself and took us through the entire museum. And her and her husband, Greg, are one of my first friends. They were my first friends in Vega, Texas. Well, she happened to show me on the interior of the museum a tribute mural that had been painted for a hometown girl who had died 3 years before. Now it's been 5 years now. She died in 2016. So see, what many people don't know, I never met Valerie. I never knew Valerie. I never knew anyone in her family. This was my first knowledge of Valerie, was walking into that museum. And when I saw that tribute mural, everything else faded to the background. And in that moment, now keep in mind, this is my first year of being a nomad living on the road. I have had nothing but one incredible, out of this world experience after another. And going through this small town was just another one of those experiences, or so I thought. When I saw that mural, instantly everything else faded to the background. And I had to know more. I mean, I had to know more about this young lady. I can't tell you why. I just know that I did. So anyway, we left the small town. I went on to West Texas to visit my middle daughter who lives there. And I kind of let those emotions fade to the background, but they came storming back about 2 weeks later. And I thought, I got to write about this young lady. So I just wrote a blog post on my blog on straightupliving.com about my experience of coming to that museum in the small town of Vega, Texas, and finding out about Valerie. And I posted some pictures and how her life had touched me. Hearing about her life had touched me. And I thought, okay, I got it out. That's going to be the end of it. But I could not have been more wrong. Now, I am not famous, clearly, as many of your viewers will attest to. But when I wrote that blog post, my blog post comments blew up. I had people from all over contacting me, thanking me for writing that blog and so forth. So I knew the feelings I had been feeling were real. And I know this is kind of a long story to get to the answer to your question, but one of the people who contacted me, two people, was Valerie's father and Valerie's mother. Now, they are divorced, been divorced for a number of years, but we communicated back and forth, both of them thanking me for having written that post about their daughter. And as time went on for the next year, I stayed in communication with Valerie's mother. Her name's Deanne. And a lot of conversation took place back and forth. And finally, I just told her that I have to write her story. And we worked together for the next almost year, swapping notes. I researched her. I went back to her hometown 3 different times. I wintered there over the entire winter. This last winter, I spent the entire winter in Vega, Texas, finishing this book. And it was an incredible experience because I wrote it from the first person, as if Valerie's telling her own story. And even her own mother occasionally would email me after I would send her my latest manuscript, and she'd say, "How did you know to say this in this way, because that is exactly how Valerie would say it. That's exactly the phrase she used to always say. And I can't tell you how those things happen, but I just know this entire experience was, I could spend the rest of the night talking about the weird experiences I had writing this book. And I don't like using the word channeling, nothing like that, but definitely felt her presence when writing this book. And I felt like it was a story that needed to be told because she lived from a place of love. People talk about I live raw and unrestrained. Well, she did too, only everything was love with her. She comes from a very small conservative area of the United States, but everyone she met felt like they were the most important person in the world because that's how she made them feel. And she treated everyone with the same love and respect. And it was also more lessons that I needed to learn for my own personal journey. So she's still teaching me. I go back occasionally to read excerpts out of the book now, even though I wrote it. But it just, I cannot begin to tell you that the timing of this book was incredible because this is exactly what the world needs right now, to live from that kind of place with everything that's going on in the world for the past year, with all the divisiveness that's been going on. The message of this book just could not have come at a better time.
Do you ever share portions of, I've never seen you do it on Facebook, but have you ever shared portions of the book, like little segments that you could like show people what to expect out of the book, just like you do with your poetry, do little segments of Valerieisms, that kind of thing? Because I think people are look at the book and they're like, I'm afraid to read that. We know she's passed. I'm afraid to read it, but not realizing, like with my book, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry, it's about my mother-in-law. I wrote it about her, for her, so that people can learn from how she lived. She was the same way, just a really loving, wonderful woman who seemed kind of goofy because not many things fazed her. And so people would do, she's kind of silly. She doesn't even get upset about that. But it was like she knew she could only control herself. So she just loved, and that's what I did my TEDx on. That's what I did my first book on, was I felt compelled to write about her. So I understand that whole thing. And then with the second book, when they gave me my diagnosis of breast cancer and told me I had 3 months to live, I wrote my second book, It's Not Luck Overcoming You, because I needed to share what I knew before I passed. And then I didn't pass. So now I have to write another book. But I understand that whole compelled to share and to be able to give back and to do more. And especially for Valerie, who had she passed young. She was in her 40s, right?
No,
Early.
she was not quite 31.
Oh, okay. I knew she was like mid. But so she was so young when she passed, and she's so beautiful. And you can see the light in her just from the cover. It was the perfect picture. And I've seen pictures of you with her mother at book signings. So I thought, oh, you must have known her. No, you met her mother. You met the mother. That is beautiful. Okay, I have to answer a few people real quick. So there are people who have jumped on, and Helene she's saying yes to hello to everybody. Jesselyn, I'm sorry if Jesselyn, and Pio, and Michael, and oh my goodness, never mind. I'm not going to torture anybody else's name. But anyways, Helene wants me to sing something. So I don't know what I'm going to sing, because I usually sing when it clicks with the whatever you're saying, and I don't have anything yet.
It'll come.
But it'll come later. So I promise, Helene, I will sing something later. But Keith, what's really neat about you is to watch the world through your eyes. And that's why I wanted people to follow you, because yes, they can go to your website, and your website is straightupliving.com. And I wanted to say that out loud because I think I lost my back office. I think I lost my backside. So there's no one talking to me on the backside. So something's happened back there. But I wanted to share that straightupliving.com because you can go there, read his blogs, and then, get his books. The man has a gift for words. Yes, no formal training, which makes it even more beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Now, what else did I wanted to share with you? I was going to read another poem out of your book because I cried. I just cried and cried, and I loved and loved them. But it's because you were able to put into words things that I've always wanted to say, or I wanted and then never said. And I think I shared to you offline that my dream is to get a little, to convert a van and just go. Yeah. As long as I've got internet, I can keep doing my show. I can keep writing. I mean, everything I can do can be from anywhere. I don't need this space. And so I want to do that. You hear that? I will eventually. Right, husband?
Yes. I heard
him. You heard him? Yeah. Yeah, not yet. But that's what's so cool about it. And that's why we have the cabin, because I needed less. I needed to go where there was less. And I wanted air and I wanted nature. He wrote back, yes, dear. But that's why we did we needed a cabin, because my brain works better in space, in open space and trees and wind and air. And the more people around me, the less my brain works. So I needed that to get away. And so when I learned about you and how you lived, I'm like, remember that conversion van I wanted to do? My husband's like, and it's back. Oh, okay. I thought I had a song there for a second and it's gone. But anyways, I wanted to go into our second commercial so that we can keep talking without interruption until we're done with our conversation. We're up with the hour because we're already 43 minutes in. So I know it goes really, really fast. So all of you, thank you for watching. Please share this link with a friend and let them know that they want to come on now while we're still live on this live stream. Keith, stay there. I'm going to go to commercial. We'll be right back with more Keith Smith and his amazing words. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Michelle Mras, and you're watching Mental Shift. The following shows are all listed in Philippine time, so please watch our live streams and our replays. Catch all of them on TNC, on YouTube, or on Facebook. So there are Healthline, Couple Goals, Win Within, Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m., Market Leader, TNC Express, Thursdays at 11 a.m., YOLA, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m., Negosyo at Home, Fridays at noon, Tech U, TNC Marketplace, Fridays and Saturdays at 5:30 p.m., COVID Stories, Saturdays at 10:30 a.m., Realty Realities, Saturdays at 4 p.m., Danny Art Show, After Shift, Women at Work, The Family Business, Usapang Beauty, The Fourth Project. Also catch the TNC specials, which are One Day, TNC Arena, TNC PressCon, and TNC Town Hall on Saturdays at 7 p.m., co-hosted by our TNC founders, Lloyd and Apple. Town Hall is where we talk to you, our valued audience. So stay tuned to that one. Go check it out and talk to them. So never too late for Mental Shift. That's what you're watching right now. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time in the United States. Wednesdays and Fridays at 9:30 a.m. in the Philippines. So I thank you so much for joining me. And for more upcoming shows, follow the hashtag TNC Now on Facebook and YouTube and allow your passion to inspire you. And together, let us hashtag see the new you. Welcome back. Yes, 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 yes. Denim and Pearl says, yay, Michelle's back. So tonight, my guest is Keith. Where's Keith Smith? Where is he? Keith Smith. And he has written, he's written many, many books. Look him up on Amazon and go to his website, which is, I just blanked.
StraightUpLiving.com.
It's straightupliving.com. That's what I meant to say. It's straightupliving.com. Read his blogs. Oh my goodness, his words. I swear he is either in my heart and mind and taking thoughts out of me that I have not let out. And that was, for those of you who feel that you're oppressing some of your feelings, you get that book and you read it from cover to cover. And I can assure you, it will give you some release of some of the things that you have had angst about and didn't even realize you did. That's how you write, Keith. So kudos to you. And I hope you write more because, wow, I can't wait to read Valerie's book because of the way you wrote this book. That's what's drawing me to this book, Valerie, is because I read your poetry. If you can emote emotions that quickly with little phrases, what can you do in an entire book? Oh, my husband gave me the perfect song. I heard he sang a good song. I heard he had a style. And so I came to see him to read some for a while. And there he was, just young boy, a stranger to my eyes, strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life in his words, killing me softly with his song. Perfect song, Michael. You're right. That's it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you. Wait, if you ever heard me on a microphone, it's a whole different ball game. That's why when you said you had your guitar and you had your flutes, I'm like, we need to meet and I want to sing with you because I'm a huge singer, because that's how I release my emotion is I will sing a melody of a song and then I'll change the words of it. Yes. Yeah. So that took me off guard. So I just kind of did her version, but that's you. I picked up your book and you don't even know me. And it was like reading me. Yeah. That's why I wanted to definitely know you and get you on this show, because there's something special in there that we need to keep promoting. Yes, Helene, I sang for you. And for Keith. So now every time you hear that song, you're going to think, hey, that's my song. It is your song.
I'll think Michelle did it better.
Ah. But yeah, I'm so glad that you went to that weird place in Veda and had no idea why you're there. I'm so glad that you looked across the street and saw that mural and was drawn that way. And I believe everything does happen for a reason, however tragic it may be, and that, or how much it hurts. It's a guide to whatever we're supposed to do next. And so with you, leaving everything behind, it sounds drastic. I'm sure your family went, "What are you doing?" But it's exactly what you needed to do so this next version of you could be emoted out. And then to go to a small town and see a mural in a museum, most of us go through a small town, eat, and to head out. That you wandered enough to find this next and be able to tell Valerie's story the way she needed it told. And I hope one day when I pass, someone like you comes through and tells my story, because it's something that I'm unable to do while I'm here. And so I'm thankful for people like you who can see into someone else's heart and mind and write like them as in their voice. That's a gift. And that's why you couldn't do English so well, because your gift is here. It's not here.
You expressed it perfectly. And you mentioned several times during this broadcast how I was inside of your head and speaking your emotions. And what that is, and you already know this, I know, but that is where we are all connected, because we all feel those things. And that's the reason why I live my life raw and transparent and vulnerable in front of the whole world, because I want everyone to know that it's okay. It's okay to live this way. It's okay to let it out. And I may be able to put words on it, but given time, I couldn't always do that. I had to really go through everything we've talked about that I went through to get me to that place. And and much like you, I mean, I know some of your story, Michelle, an incredible, powerful story, much like Valerie's. And so you know what's inside of you, and it's coming out even through this show. So I feel that connection with you, though we haven't really known each other up until now. But I still feel that connection with you, and I suspect I would feel it with your husband, friends of yours, because we all come from the same source.
Yes, we've talked about this online before. And it's like it's an evolution of all of us. We're all evolving into something. And that's how we connected. And Sylvia, we connected. And one day we'll road trip to Sylvia,
Yeah.
because it's going through some really difficult things. And if you're out there and you're listening, you're like, well, I haven't had that. I mean, I didn't go through a divorce. I haven't had a breakup. I haven't had cancer. I haven't. No, we all go through our trial differently. Your trial may not be as drastic as someone else's. It's not about comparing. It's about the life lesson you've pulled from whatever you went through, whatever is heart-wrenching for you. And what you learn and pull from it is what your evolution is coming through. So that's why I always say, be the best version of you every day. Yes, bad things happen, do happen to good people. It's what good people will do with it. Do you, like Keith said earlier, do I stay in the dark place and shrivel up and die? Or do I get up and move through all this pain? I've seen a magnet that says, when you find yourself in hell, don't stop. Right? When you find yourself in a bad place, find the light, keep going, don't get stuck in there, because that's not where we're meant to be. We are not meant to be miserable. Our heart's desire, our soul's desire is to be free and full of love. No judgment, no hate. So when you find yourself in that place, you know you're moving away from your real source. You need to get away from that and make the conscious choice to move past whatever's making you angry or angst or whatever that is.
100%.
Yes. And Helene said she's on a road trip listening to us right now. So
Yeah.
yay! So yes, I cannot wait to learn more about you, and I'm sure we will stay connected, because
Oh yeah.
I'm tracking you. And one day you're going to see this conversion van pull up next to you, honk honk.
Yeah.
It'll be me waving at you.
That'd be awesome. That'd be great.
Now we only have like 4 minutes left before we wrap up the show, and I know that hour went incredibly fast.
Yeah.
And I want you to think about, what would you like to share with the audience? So like a thought or a poem, whatever you would like to share for the audience to leave with, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Yeah, a couple of things actually.
Okay.
Drawing on something that you just said, for one, you don't have to go through something horrendous, something that you may think is monumental to experience a significant life change. You don't have to. I tell people all the time, people say, I wish I could do what you do so they could have a life like I have.
Didn't do it.
Tell them I'm a nomad, and that is a path. It is not the path.
Mm.
There's 1,000 roads home. Take your pick. One of them will fit you. You're not too old. It's not too late. You're not too broken. I mean, don't believe that lie. And sometimes you lie to yourself because it's work to get yourself in that place, to design your life intentionally. But design it you must, or you will live the rest of your life just miserable and not fulfilled. And you know you don't want to live that way. So if I could ask anything of you, it would just be to open your heart, not to even what I'm saying or my books. And I like to sell 1 million of them tonight. But if I don't sell one, if you just take this word that I'm giving you right now and just believe in yourself. Look at me. I graduated high school with a 2.0 because I didn't give a crap about high school. I did not apply myself. I've written 6 books now, not because I'm great, but because I have a great work ethic. I have self-discipline, and I believed in myself. And I surrounded myself with people who shared that belief. So there's your next clue. If you're not surrounded by people who believe in you, you need a new circle. And that can be painful sometimes.
Yeah.
You'll have to do that pruning so you can bloom into the life that's waiting for you. And it's there. It's right there. It's not a dream. It's not a pipe dream. It's real, and it's waiting for you.
I love that. Yes. Find your tribe, people who support you and love and will see the future for you. I mean, when you say, I want to do, they do. I believe in you. I know you can do it. Like Keith says, he graduated high school with a 2.0. That's not very good, people. That's not very good. With me, but he's written all these books. I have a brain injury. By normal science, I should not be talking and I should not be able to write a book. But I've got 2 books, third on the way, and I will have 4 done by the end of this year. Okay. So don't let what society tells you can and cannot happen determine what you can and cannot do.
Yes.
Keith has definitely broken that mold. I have broken that mold. And usually when you see people that you're like, wow, I wish I could, we didn't do anything special. What we did was we broke from what we were told we could not do because we wanted to.
Right.
So what do you want to do? What does your heart tell you? Line it up, make it happen. My biggest fear in life, and that's what really catapulted my mental shift, was I didn't want to die wishing I did.
Yes.
So I do. And the only thing I haven't done yet is that conversion van because I haven't figured out how to do that yet. But I will do it eventually as soon as I figure out how to do it. But Helene said, amen, just do it.
Right.
Now, I'm so glad we had this time together. I love Carol Burnett. Just to have a laugh and sing a song. But we're at our hour and we have to say now goodbye to all of you. So long.
Yeah.
So if you would all please share this video link, the live link will go down and then you can just share the link. I would appreciate it. Keith will appreciate it. And then go over there and follow him on straightupliving.com and read his blogs and see his pictures and the poetry he writes with his pictures. He will move your soul. I can tell you, every time I read it, I stop commenting because I'm inarticulate. I say, wow. And it's like, that's not like me just to say wow. So I just started hearting everything because he takes my words away by the way he writes and the way he captures things. So everyone have a wonderful, wonderful week. Hope to see you on Mental Shift if you're in the United States on Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time. If you're in the Philippines, Friday at 9:30 a.m. or any other part of the world, find your time zone, okay? Join us on Thursday. And then again, every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 Mountain Time, United States. Join us on Mental Shift because you meet people like Keith. Just people who have moved throughout their mental shift, had a major one or built upon them and found a path of enlightenment or love or peace, whatever it is that we're all seeking. Every guest I bring on always has something major like this. So join us. Come see the new you. And Keith, stay on the line. I'll be right back with you. Let me say goodbye to everybody. And thank you so much for joining us on Mental Shift. My name is Michelle Mras, and I look forward to meeting all of you. Please, like, share, and also, if you follow the TNC link, you can subscribe so that when we come on live, you know it, and then you can join onto the chat, and I can actually see your comments on the live stream, and we can read them and talk to you, and we can have some conversation live with my guest. So have a wonderful rest of your week. See you on Thursday night or Friday morning, depending on where you are. And until next time, signing off, Michelle Mras.